Welcome once again to Hunter's Entertainment on Twitch.tv. My name is Noxweiler Burf, and I am your game master and guide through a dark and challenging world of survival horror. Tonight, as we do every Tuesday evening, we are playing Outbreak Undead. This game is not for the faint of heart, and I, as the game master, have confirmed consent with each and every one of my players. Our lines and veils have been very carefully drawn, and we have safety protocols in place to assist and protect everyone at the table tonight. We ask you for your consent as well, and we encourage you to read the content warnings very closely. This game offers us all wonderful opportunities to explore dark themes and to shine a light on the human condition in the safe confines of our imaginations. But that takes the bravery and support of every single person involved, you included. Not every character tonight is going to be played with the same objectives and motivations. Some are working against one another. Others are in communication with dark and dangerous outside forces. Nothing is set in stone, and the unexpected can be expected here tonight. In this game, there are no magical swords to be discovered, no valiant knights to hide behind, no castle walls that can provide protection. The dangers in this world are far worse. They wear a face of a world that is very familiar to us, but it is a world that died long ago. The echo and dying gasp of a civilization now lost to us. Still, in the greatest darkness, hope burns the brightest. I would like to thank both JB Jara and Alex Hillman, and in fact the entire Hunters team, for helping to make this campaign happen. Without their aid, we simply wouldn't be here. If you're new to our program, we would ask that you sign up for Scry in the panels below and engage with the communities of our apocalypse quite directly. You can take on the role of a survivor yourself and help to divert the resources and goods to where you think that they might be needed most. Your choices will mean the difference between life and death as it's linked to the settlements of the Rag and Bone universe. Our tireless Undead moderators are in the chat right now, and they're prepared to help you by answering any questions that you might have. They're here to support your efforts, and we ask that you give them the respect that they so richly deserve. Also, if you enjoy this content, we ask that you continue to make noise for us on social media. Help us to grow and bring more survivors into the fold. You can join into our Discord as well. There you can connect with others who enjoy this particular brand of dark ride. Enough of all of that, however. Allow me to introduce to you the players in tonight's little nightmare. Michelle, welcome back. Would you do us the honor of please talking a little bit about yourself, where you can be found on the internet, and the character that you'll be playing tonight?
Sure can. Hey, I'm Michelle and Bradley. Back, made it somehow. You can find me here every Tuesday, obviously, and on Wednesdays you can find me on Paizo's official channel, playing a very fun Pathfinder game. We've got 2 more episodes of that for the season, and you can find all my work at michelleandbradley.com. I do production, I do shows, I do voice acting, all sorts of fun stuff. And in this game, I play Faith. And last episode was pretty intense. I decided not to shoot Lampwick, even though if I would have decided to, I would have done so. But I basically turned a corner. The Citadel thinks I am missing or dead. I basically didn't respond to the last call they gave me on the walkie-talkie, and I turned it off. I decided to choose letting go rather than choosing killing Lampwick and some other things that shall be revealed later. So I don't know, I'm very excited to play Faith tonight.
Very excited to have you here again. Markia, welcome back. Would you like to talk to everyone a little bit about the things that you do on the internet here and about the character that you will be playing?
Hello, everyone. I'm Markia McCarty. I'm a host, interviewer, voiceover person. I also write, story, edit, just across the board. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Markia McCarty. Here on Twitch is Darth Markia, and Facebook is Markia TV. And if you enjoy, you're here, so I'm guessing you enjoy horror. Check out Something Scary on YouTube. We do weekly animated horror episodes. And I'm just coming back from a 2 week vacation and jumping straight into survival horror. This is like the first thing that I'm doing, and I'm absolutely delighted that this is what it is. So, like I said, I've been gone for the past 2 weeks. My character, Achira, who is a stealthy rogue type, who is very much about her own survival, but has gone through this growth arc where she has started to care for other people in her team. She cares for Lampwick, for instance. He might be the closest thing that she has to a best friend. She cared for her past love, Arya, who, because of circumstances involving Arya and Lampwick, there's much to be uncovered there. Was taken from her and was beheaded. She doesn't know who did it, but she has a lead that the Shepherds are involved, which is also the organization that Lampwick is a part of. The last time that Achira was here, she was in Sullivan Town. The place was being overrun, and she slipped into the night as I slipped into my vacation. So we'll see what has happened since then. I'm very excited and raring to get some Romeros.
We're very excited to have you back, and you are very right about one thing, Markia. There are many secrets that have yet to come to the surface within this story. As they slowly are revealed, I believe that everything could possibly change once more. Melee, welcome back. Would you like to talk to everyone about the character that you'll be playing and a little bit about what you do here on the internet?
Sure. Hi there, Melee Damage. You can find me on the socials, whatever they are, /Melee Damage. I do a bunch of streaming all over the place and a bunch of new stuff coming up yet that I don't have quite the dates for, so do follow the socials. Also, a short film that is nominated for quite a few awards that we will find out this weekend if it actually won, so fingers crossed. I will be playing Rowan, who went through quite a lot the last time that she was here. She kind of left that one on a cliffhanger, but fought like hell to get away from a very terrifying abomination of sorts with very jagged teeth. So happy she made that out.
Rowan fought as hard as she possibly could have. It was very, very close. And we did leave your character on a bit of a cliffhanger. As a survivor, Rowan has been with us now for quite a while. We'll see if that continues tonight. Luis, welcome back. We're glad to have you here. Would you like to talk a little bit about the character that you'll be playing and about everything that you do within the world?
Yeah, man, just hearing people talk about what's going on with their characters reminds me of all the crap that Lampwick has stirred up. Jeez. I'm Luis Carrazzo. I'm an actor. I've got some commercials that are airing right now. One really cool one is a Star Wars one, where I am a Jedi in it. It's it's out there. People are watching it. I've done some TV. I've got a couple of films that are about to come out, hopefully soon. And I play Lampwick. So yeah, Lampwick is, man. I feel super on edge because I feel like Lampwick has always, in the past, Lampwick has used people. It was easy for him to do it. It was easy for him to look at someone and be like, you know what, this is what's missing in your life. I'm going to become a version of that, and I'm going to take whatever it is that I need to take from you. He was a street kid, pre-apocalypse, and that survivor in him is what's kept him alive in this in this apocalypse. But we're all talking about some changes that are going on, and Lampwick has been going through some transformations, and I think that he is actually realizing that that way of going about everything isn't really working here, and he's perhaps turning into a different person. Also, he has joined the shepherds and has kind of eaten some sort of Romero flesh on a couple of occasions, and it's changed him physically. Although not quite a Romero, something maybe in between is where he is existing right now. So, but there's some things that he has to answer for still with a couple of the people that I'm sharing the screen with, and I'll see. I'm excited and terrified about how that might play out.
You've answered a lot of the questions that have been circling about Lampwick, but there's so much more that we have yet to explore. And even though Lampwick is changing in many ways, I suppose we all have to ask, is it enough, and is it too late? We wish to thank all of you for your support over these months that we have been providing you with the content here on Hunters Entertainment on Twitch. Rag and Bone has been a special treat to all of us. We've worked very hard to provide you with survival horror on a weekly basis. As you can imagine, it's no small accomplishment. However, in celebration, we do have a few special announcements. First and foremost, we will be taking a break next Tuesday. We will not be streaming normally here. However, on Thursday of that week, on the 16th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you're going to be able to witness a very special session that is going to take place live at Gen Con in front of a studio audience. Now, we would be remiss if we didn't include some means of interactivity for all of you. That will be coming to you very shortly. If you haven't already, please get into our Discord and stay in touch with Alex Redeye. They will keep you informed as to how you can maintain and help support your favorite faction within this world. Everything from this point forward matters, and I will not be pulling any punches just because we'll be standing on a stage. In fact, tonight, there will be some special levels of support that you can offer within the Scry. I highly recommend that you become involved in those now. Additionally, we have a means that you can increase the competency points that are available here for all of the players. It is September, which means that all subscriptions through Twitch will be 20% off, though that is only available to you through the desktop application. Enough of all of that. We have a long way to travel. It's getting dark and the road is long. We should get moving. The world ended on Monday, May 29th, 1995. The sky fell, and the dead would not die. Civilization quickly collapsed, and the sickness spread like lightning to even the most remote reaches of the world. They called it many things, but it started out as another round of the flu. It became something far worse. H195 was commonly known as the Legacy or the Reaper's Kiss. It was even more deadly to those who had passed. Raising the dead, friend attacked friend, family against family, chaos broke loose in the streets. The dead were walking and there was no escape to be had. And at first it seemed as though no one was immune to the airborne strain. Eventually, however, it appeared that 0.01% of the population had a natural immunity. However, even those lucky souls couldn't withstand a concentrated introduction of the virus through a bite or a deep scratch, blood-on-blood contact. The end of days were like wildfire, and throughout the world, people sought refuge and security where there was none to be had. Sanctuary was nowhere. Entire cities burned to the ground, but miraculously, some still survived. And for the next 25 years, life has struggled forward. The world now is a fractured place, but some seek to make civilization anew. Rag and bone merchants crisscross the lands that used to belong to the Midwestern United States. They use old rail lines and railway tracks to connect the small and scattered outposts and settlements, hoping to bring life where there was none before. The Ender's Line is one such group. They are a lifeline in a world that now belongs entirely to the dead. Achiro. The rain is heavy. It falls continuously around you. Down in the muddy streets of Sullivan Town, there is muzzle flash, smoke, fire, and the blast from grenades. The rumble of a tank is to your left, and you stand on the roof of one of the corrugated steel structures that crisscross this sad, gray, dilapidated town. This place is barely alive. Only a handful of survivors remained here when you and the others arrived. And then, both the Citadel and the dead arrived. Called forth by the shepherds, using a old wired PA system within the confines of this walled city. The dead were summoned here. They fell like rain out of the sky, tumbling off of the jagged concrete overpasses that had crumbled away near the outskirts of the town itself. Sullivan Town has been built and constructed from all of the leftover remains of the civilization that once stood here. The remains of old semi-trailers, cargo containers, cars and trucks that had been stacked one upon another, creating a barricade that protected them against the outside world. Everything here is quite ramshackle, held together loosely. The constructions that you have been walking across have been precarious to say the least, but it's offered you the best advantage you could find. You needed to get away, to have height, to have vision, to be able to see where you were going and to see what was happening around you. The risk is paid off. You know exactly what's happening on the north end of the town. The gates have been mauled over by a large tank with the Citadel markings upon it. A tank that you recognize, having survived the Grey Ridge incident. Sullivan Town, however, was better fortified. Still, the forces of the coalition forces that have pushed their way through from the Citadel have made short work of any that stood within their way. However, the walls of Sullivan Town were not meant to hold back the Citadel. This was a trap. You, your companions, and the Citadel have found themselves within what can only be described as a kill box. The walls of Sullivan Town have become a cage, and the dead are flowing into it. Through the streets, like rivers, the dead pour. Lampwick left all of you behind, leveraging what he thought to be some ability or skill to maneuver and pass amongst the dead unharmed. You are uncertain as to whether or not he was successful. You only watched as he disappeared into the hordes of rotten dead. Waterlogged, soaked, and stinking, that mass of corpses swallowed him whole. You're uncertain as to whether or not you will ever see him again. The others, however, you have been able to keep an eye on from a distance, to cover as they've moved through the streets. It's unfortunate, however, that the buildings around you are so loosely constructed. There's a shift underneath your boots as you move, and a corrugated steel panel slides. You catch yourself just in time to watch the building across the way, the one that Marcus was walking towards. You watch as it explodes. Muddy streets, chaos and smoke. It's drawn the attention of the Citadel, and now you hear the explosions around you. From outside the walls, they are shelling this place. And the building next to you explodes outward in a fiery burst that sends metal, wood, and debris into the air. It throws you backwards. You catch yourself just in time, and then slide into the darkness below, the interior of the building that you had been walking above. You feel the weight of a heavy beam fall. You catch yourself, and then you feel it smash against your head. There's gunshots and shouting. Your head is swimming. You fall in and out of consciousness, choking on the smoke and the flame. And then everything goes dark, becomes quiet. You don't know how long you were out. It felt like the blink of an eye. But when you open your eyes again, Achiro, you're no longer wet. You're no longer in the stinking hole that you'd fallen into. You're no longer surrounded by the debris and the gray, empty walls of Sullivan Town. You're in the back of a moving vehicle as it rumbles across the rough road. Two soldiers sit in front of you. They're bearing the armor and the sigils of the Citadel. You are not chained up. You are not tied or tethered in any way. You are not bound. Your wounds have been dressed. Weapons have been removed from your body, but nothing else has been taken. Your eyes open. One of the soldiers messages something into a walkie, mumbling low. You hear the click and the whir of that that walkie-talkie as it activates. She's awake. You're covered and you are safe within the confines of the back of this truck. You're warm and you are dry. From the back of the truck, there is a single piece of metal that has a number of slots that have been cut into it. You can see that it is daylight. There is a gray overcast sky, but you can see trees moving in the horizon. One of the soldiers looks to you. What do you do?
Do I see my weapons?
You do not see them on this truck, no.
Did they just took the weapons, not anything that didn't look like a weapon?
Nothing that seemed to be anything that could be used to harm someone directly. So anything sharp and jagged, anything pointed, anything that would have significant weight to it would have been taken, but your personal effects haven't been touched otherwise.
Yes, she is awake. Where are you taking me, soldiers?
We're taking you back to the Citadel.
That's not my mission, though. I'm not supposed to be going back to the Citadel.
What exactly is your mission?
I think I'd prefer to talk to the person that you're talking to as opposed to you, soldier. No offense.
Is that really what you want?
Who are you answering to?
Lieutenant Riggs.
Sure. Let me talk to Lieutenant Riggs.
The soldier looks at you, and you can see that they're armed. They're just not pointing weapons at you. They don't have any overtly aggressive stance to them. They're somewhat relaxed in the back of the truck. But you can tell from both of them that they are wary of you. You don't know why. You can make a sense motive check if you would like, and I can tell you a little more.
Sure, let's do that. She's not a people person, so I don't think I really have anything to put into sense motive, so I think this would just be a straight roll here.
Go ahead and make that straight roll, and let's see how you do.
Detect motives, sorry.
One degree of failure. Do you wish to write out that 1 degree of failure?
It makes sense for her.
Agreed. It's hard to read them. They're soldiers. You do sense that they are somewhat relaxed. They don't seem to be overtly aggressive, but they are wary. They're cautious around you. The soldier in front of you undoes the walkie-talkie and hands the large instrument over to you. It has an antenna attached to it and a homemade battery that has been attacked onto the back of it with a large strap of leather. And this thing looks like it's been built and rebuilt 3 or 4 times over, but it's been painted a matte black, like most of the Citadel equipment that you've come across. He makes sure that the walkie-talkie is correctly adjusted before handing it to you, and then points to one of the side buttons for the call.
Gonna go ahead and push it and talk to Riggs.
You immediately hear a crackle and a whirl of the walkie-talkie as it begins to pop and static sort of builds up through the entire thing. What do you say into the walkie-talkie?
Did Achira have a call sign back when she was with the Citadel, or is it just everybody does their own names?
No, you had a call sign. What would your call sign have been? What do you think would have been appropriate for Achira? Most of the time, you can use your own unless you're on a specific mission, and then usually they would tailor something appropriate to that. These would cycle through every few months, just so that no one who might defect or leave the Citadel would be able to identify individuals given the call signals.
How about glider?
Sure. So you could use glider, and you're pretty sure that Riggs would understand that.
She pressed the button. Riggs, glider here. Do you hear? I don't know walkie-talkie. Like,
It's all right.
over.
Well, I read you loud and clear, glider. Over.
I have a couple of soldiers here that are saying that they're taking me back to Citadel. I thought I was supposed to be searching for that very important location for Rowan and for the higher ups. Over.
Yeah, about all that. Things kinda went foobar. I'm sure you're aware. As per usual, things tend to go to shit. Citadel has to reconsolidate. There's been some adjustment in the power structure. You're not being detained. I just need to have a very clear conversation with both you and Rowan in the same room. After that, you're free to go. As long as you don't make any trouble. You're really good at that, glider. Over.
Riggs, I have a very strong lead to that location, though, and you're taking me further and further away from it. If you give me a day, I can come in on my own. Over.
I understand. You're doing a great job. We're all really appreciative of everything that you're doing, glider. But again, things are changing a lot faster around here than we can keep up with. And we need some clarity. And you are gonna help us find that clarity. Over.
So Rowan is at Citadel right now, then, along with Faith and Lampwick. Over.
Your associates have gone off the map. Over.
Including Rowan. Over.
Negative, we have Rowan. Faith, as far as we can tell, is dead. Over.
You don't sound very broken up about it, Riggs. If she is. Over.
Glider, what would you know about what I sound like when I'm broken up? Over.
She does not press the button, but she does let out a few expletives, looks over at the soldiers, presses the button again. I'm not feeling really good about leaving this business behind, Riggs. It's time sensitive for me to do this. I will come in on my own. I just need a day. Over.
Copy that. You need a day. You'll get a day. After we have our sit down. This wouldn't be about Kusanagi, would it? Over.
He was the one that was supposed to be leading to that particular place. And I don't think that the place that I left him in, he wasn't in very good condition. and I need to make certain that he's alive. Over.
Well, you're in luck, Glider, because we've got Kusanagi too. Looks like you don't need to leave at all, and you need to come and have a nice hot cup of coffee with me and Rowan, so that we can sort a number of things out. And then, once that conversation's over, Glider, I'm gonna set you on your merry way, because frankly, you're not worth the pain in my ass that you've become. Over.
Over and out.
Over and out.
So the radio sort of crackles, and the soldier just holds his hand back out.
Chira gives him back the radio. While she's doing that, though, can she check to see exactly what weapons are visible in the Jeep that they're in?
It's a very heavily modified military truck, so it's really wide. You're in the back of it. It has this canvas shell that looks like it's been reinforced with something very rigid on the outside. It might be plastic, it might be metal, it might be a combination of both. But you see that there's like a hard shell on top of the canvas shell, and then there's metal that has been welded on the back. It still has a cleanness and a crispness to it. It looks very military in that it's been maintained and painted over. But just like everything in all vehicles within the pin area, the region that you have traveled within, it is highly modified, and it's loud, and it rumbles, and it smells of diesel. In the back, you have the two soldiers, and each of them have rifles that they are very loosely holding on their laps. Both of them have boot knives, and you can see that they have citadel swords strapped to their backs. So each of them has one sword, the automatic rifle, and a boot knife. That's what you see, along with your bag, which isn't right in front of you. It's right off to the side. But you can see that while it's been picked through, it's not like, it looks like everything's more or less there, with the exception of anything that's an obvious weapon. All of your weapons are not currently within this vehicle. You don't know if A, they even got them when they found you, or B, if those weapons are being held somewhere else.
Okay. So no axe, no long gun, no pistol. Do I, in the bag, do I at least have Rusty's rusted revolver? It didn't look like it would shoot right.
I think that the revolver is probably not in there. But if
Okay.
you want to dig through your bag, I can allow you to do that, and I'll tell you whether or not it's in there definitively.
No, that's fine. I understand what I'm working with here. Is this vehicle just by itself, or do we have an escort?
Make a spot listen check for me. You don't have a clear view other than the slots that are in the back of the truck. You do have superficial wounds, bruising, and some scratches. It doesn't really equate to anything for you because you received immediate medical attention from the Citadel. So none of that is going to convert over into a wound or an injury that you're going to have to deal with.
Okay. So for the spot listen, any recon gear with that or nah?
Nah, you don't. I mean, unless you wish to go into your bag and start kind of poking through some of your gear, you're currently without any gear, so it's going to be a straight roll.
Okay. Yeah.
3 degrees of failure. So if you want to ride that out, I will say that it's effectively going to tell you nothing. You can't tell that this truck is so loud. You could be surrounded by a tank and you wouldn't know. If you want to lower it, I could tell you more.
No, I have a feeling that I'm going to need those points later. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep this riding as is. A number of things to do, like a check here. With Achira, she tends to hide particular things around her body.
Mm-hmm.
We've established that in the past. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like I just want to do a quick check to make sure that she still has those on her.
Name the 3 major hidden weapons that you usually carry with you.
Okay. She has like metal splinters about this big, buried in the skin on each wrist as makeshift lock picks.
Mhm.
She has a flat, sharpened metal piece for slashing that she hides in the lining of her pants. And see what else that she might, under these circumstances, have kept. Yeah, I think she probably wouldn't have access to the nails that she would hide in her mouth. So just those.
Right.
The two metal splinters for makeshift lockpicks, and the flat sharpened metal piece.
Well, I think it's fair to say that you have all of that still. I think that it's well hidden enough that no one would easily find it. And it doesn't feel like they did an exhaustive search or anything like that. It was very straightforward. So I'm going to allow you to have both the blade and the lock picks should you need them. But to retrieve them would take a little time and would be fairly obvious.
Yes.
So you're still in the back. Is there anything that you want to do while the truck rumbles, or are you going to sit and wait for it to arrive at the Citadel?
I guess at this point she's going to have to sit and wait because otherwise it's trying to get out of the back of this truck and make a running, tumble for it. And I just don't feel like that's in the cards.
Yeah. There are a lot of things working against Achira in this moment. It would be very dangerous for her to try to make that escape. However, as you sit there and you watch, one of the soldiers offers you a hand-rolled cigarette. Do you smoke?
Achira will accept it. Be like, is this weed?
No. It's just a little tobacco. We have a little patch of it back at the Citadel.
Thank you. I appreciate this. What's your name, soldier?
Smithy.
Smithy.
Yeah.
Been with the Citadel long?
Long enough?
Since you were a kid?
No. But I've heard about you.
Me?
Yeah. People talk.
Well, if it was Riggs talking, then only 20% of it is true.
Right. You knew Omar, Faith, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I knew them when they were small. I knew them when I was out on a mission with them and everything went sideways. I don't believe that Faith could be dead, though.
I hope not. She was a good soldier. She really she had a future, A lot of us we try, but she knew how to keep us in line and how to keep us moving and motivated. It gets really bad out there. Scary.
It's pretty bad and scary in the Citadel, too. It's pretty bad and scary everywhere, Smithy.
You just said it. It's pretty bad and scary everywhere. I know you've not got a great love for the Citadel. A lot of folks don't. I believe in it. Faith believes in it.
Well, you just kind of have to find the thing that you believe in and head towards it. But the thing of it is that if it's something like Citadel, you have to wonder, how much does it believe in you? But everybody finds that out for themselves. I found it out. I definitely found it out. You'll find it out.
He draws really heavily on a cigarette and sort of blows it out. The other soldiers are a lot colder now, especially since this sort of loose talk is happening, and he's shooting Smithy sort of these dirty looks. But Smithy just keeps talking and looks to you. Yeah, nothing's perfect in this world. I don't remember what the world used to look like, you know? I was too young. I grew up in this. All I know is that if you want to survive, you have to be disciplined and you have to have order and you have to trust in something. And you may not like the Citadel, but the Citadel isn't a place. It's people. And it can change if it needs to. I'm not going to run away from that. If I don't like something, I'm going to speak up. You know, soldiers just don't act. They're a part of the whole. We follow orders, but there's a chain of command. And, you know, Faith had ideas. If you knew her at all, yeah, you know that the Citadel is worth fighting for.
Once upon a time, I believed in the idea of the Citadel. There's the idea of something, and then there's certain people that use that idea in a way that can't be stomached. You said that you have to believe in something, that you need order, that you need structure. People have different needs. I know what it was like before this. And I know what it's like now. I've had it both ways, and I can tell you without a fact, I can tell you definitely. Structure and order is good, but it is hollow. You have got to have something good, something bright, something positive, something that you can hang your hat on. Otherwise, the structure falls away. Otherwise, the days and the nights are endless. You need that good.
You need a North Star.
Everything else is window dressing, wherever you find it. But everything else just props that up for you. You need that good. And it sure is gonna smoke.
Yeah. He takes some like homemade matches and strikes it and lights the cigarette for you as the vehicle bumps up and down, and the other soldier has gotten really stony, and Smith just sort of sits back and it's quiet the rest of the ride. But eventually, Achira, you feel the vehicle slow and stop.
Oh, if we're heading towards the Citadel, is there is there any way that Achira can be like, hey, just nearby the gates, is there any way that we can just stop for a second and just stick our heads out a window and see if we can see a hand scythe like anywhere around here? Last time when I was taken in, my hand scythe got dropped.
Smithy moves past you, knocks on this small panel behind your head, and you hear it move forward, and he converses with someone in the front seat. And you hear some talking back and forth. However, the vehicle doesn't stop. And he sits back down and he looks to you, he's like, sorry, I suppose they're in a hurry to get you in the walls.
Yeah,
a lot's been going on out here. There have been attacks.
Yeah, it was a slim to none chance. Yeah. Thanks for trying.
Yeah, you hear the rumble as the truck kind of rolls over a number of metal plates, and you feel as if you're being pulled into a much more confined area as the light around the truck on the inside with the slats that you had been able to see through goes dark, as if you're going into some sort of contained overhang. You watch as the gates close. And Achira, you're back in the Citadel.
Oh, home sweet home.
Rowan. See that thing in your mind over and over again. Its twisted anatomy pulls itself closer to you as it rips itself out of the overturned Citadel vehicle, lunging closer and closer to you. And time again, you pull the trigger. And you watch the explosion as the creature is enveloped in flame and fire. As the gasoline, the diesel ignites, and the entire fuel station blows. The heat and the wind wash across you. And everything is dark again. When you wake up, you see the Citadel flag. It's been pinned to the ceiling through the rough wooden planks above you. Boot knives hold it there, one in each corner. You're lying in a bed, a cot. You're scraped. The injuries from the attack that you survived have been bandaged. But you're aware of everything around you. You can breathe. You see a tray next to you. Bloodied bandages, water, surgical tools. You seem to be in one piece. You have some stitches. Certainly, that thing didn't do any worse to you than what Juniper did. That said, you've been out of it for a while. Seeing everything in the room around you like a lingering ghost. You smell it. The rich aroma of one of Riggs' cigars. And you see the orange firelight of the cherry on a cigar as it ignites and burns as Riggs draws deeply of the stub of one of his cigars in the back corner of the room. He's seated. You can't see his face. There's only one flickering bulb in the room. You're not restrained in any way.
I sit up and I look at Riggs and I go, "Did you see I killed that dirty son of a bitch?"
Morning, sunshine. Sleep well?
I don't know if I'd call that. I mean, I guess it was technically sleep, but it wasn't very restful.
Yeah, I don't imagine that it was. Feels like you must have 9 lives, the way I figure it. Time and time again, I think, well, holy fuck, Rowan's down for the count. But every single time, I'm wrong.
It's hard to kill even.
Yeah. Ain't that the fucking truth? You and I have some pretty important things to talk about, I figure. Make a sense motives check, please, Rowan.
I do this so infrequently, I seem to have lost it.
No, it's okay. It's detect motives. It's right under command on train skills. Do you wish to ride that out, given the circumstances?
Yeah.
3 degrees of failure, you have no idea where he's going, but you can make some educated guesses.
Which thing in particular?
We haven't found a body yet,
Briggs,
but I think
there's a few things just covered.
say that again.
There's, I realize my use of fire might be a bit over excessive with some of these Romeros that come in here, but I'll work on it, okay? I get it, not everything needs to explode. I'll work on it.
Yeah, you lit up half the damn base, but that's not the problem.
Sure, seems like that.
Look, we haven't found a body yet, but it looks like Faith is MIA, most likely dead. We don't have tags yet, but we're looking.
I'll believe it when we have tags. She's a wild one. She might just be off doing something.
I was in
Trying to make
communication.
us proud.
No, I know she would if she was there, but I had her on the horn, and it didn't sound good at all.
Well,
That twisted piece of shit, Lampwick. He was there, and this whole thing with those religious freaks, it's coming to a head.
oh, great. So, we're just gonna roll up on the camp and burn it to the ground? Because I've been waiting for you to give me the go-ahead for that for months.
Yeah, I would, Rowan. Only fucking problem is, I have to decide if I'm gonna let you live today.
Come again?
You heard me. I believed in you. I thought you and I were thick as thieves. We've served together for how many years?
Long ass time.
Yeah. Long ass time. When did you know about Camilla?
About what in particular?
I don't know. Fuck. You think I want to be in this position? You think I want every eye on this base look into the center of this room right here? We've got one lieutenant, newly minted lieutenant, most likely dead. And you and me in this room right now. When did you know that she was pregnant with my child?
When she told me. And if you didn't want every eye on you in this room, then you should have just let her go.
Well, that's just it. The mission was a failure. Granted, that wasn't the only thing we were looking after. You know, Faith has some genuine beef. She's earned She's earned her revenge. A little bit of wrath and hellfire. She deserves it. She's put in her time. She's earned her stripes. I don't give a flying fuck what Camilla does. I'm not trying to hold her here. But I'll be damned if she's gonna take my child into the apocalypse and let it die.
I think she's got a better grasp on things than you think. You want my honest opinion, Rig? Personally, I felt the kid was safer with her away from, well, and she gestures again to the burning landscape from the exploding gasoline tank. We are always under attack, Rig. If your kid can make it somewhere with one of those, what do they call them, Anders? Just somewhere that's a little bit, not such a giant red target like we are, I thought you might appreciate that.
You thought I might appreciate the handful of people that I trust with my goddamn life lying to my face? You thought that I would appreciate that? I know I'm an asshole. I know it. You know that that's what makes us live. It's what gets us through. I'm not here to be anybody's fucking friend. But trust? We're brothers, sisters. We're family. That shit's supposed to mean something. You fucking broke that.
This was a matter of life or death, and you were the first one to tell me that things that happened to me in my past were probably for the better because it's a giant distraction anyway. That was the words that came out of your mouth, sir. So do remember, when I did this to protect my family. You and your kid. You distracted wasn't something we needed in the middle of all of these people trying to come in and take what we have and blow us up. I needed your head in the game.
He sits down. He drops his cigar. He stamps it out with his boot. He pulls off his military cap and runs his calloused hand through his shaved hair across the top of his head. Scratches the side of his beard. At what point does this stop working?
Beats the shit out of me.
We need children. We need a generation that we raise. Why would you or anyone else want to deny me the chance to raise one of my own?
That's fair. But I feel like Camilla wanted to go. She wanted to be away from the explosions, and I feel like she's a smart girl. She had that hint. I think she would have came back. And I think in the meantime, the life expectancy of your offspring would have quadrupled, if you will.
These negotiations with those shepherds, I need you to run me through it again. What were they after? What were they saying? Who was there? I need to hear everything.
And Rowan will recount everything, like, verbatim. She's not trying to lie to him or anything, so she'll just give him all the information she has.
The two of you sit in this room for hours, talking. Outside the door, two soldiers stand, holding rifles, on guard. Outside that complex, a truck rumbles up. 2 soldiers disembark, and Achira is led in. Somewhere else, somewhere far away from the Citadel, Lampwick and Faith, you're outside the old ragged church. What was once a concrete parking lot is now a forest. Trees broken through, grass, bits of old concrete, little islands of what once was civilization with painted lines, faded heavily. Sky is gray. It's very cold. Both of you can see your breath in the air. There's a fog hanging across everything. You're wet, soaked to the bone. Near the ATV, Marcus lowers his gun as he looks back towards the road and the sound that is issuing forth. The sound of horse hooves striking against stone in the distance. You're both facing each other. The weight and the power of what has just occurred here still hangs heavy between the two of you. Lampwick, you have no question in your mind. You were very close to losing your life. And Faith, whatever wall you've just broken through, has fallen off of you like a weight, and you've dropped to the ground in tears. Your hand is still on the gun, but it is no longer ready to be drawn. The horse hooves, distant, move closer and closer to both of you. What do you do?
My attention is on Faith, and I hear those horse hooves, and I'm using that sound to assess how present Faith is, whether that noise is registering or not.
We either need to get Camilla inside this building or into the car. Are these horse people your people?
I don't know. They have horses, but there's no way for me to know whose side whoever's coming is on. Let's get ready for company.
Okay.
We're
gonna live. We're gonna do this.
All right.
All right. I get up. I'm gonna try to kick down the door of the church to see if I can get Camilla in there.
You step forward to the large wooden double doors. You both had already explored this area, and while the doors do open somewhat, it looks as if they've been chained from the inside.
Nice.
You kick the door. Well, if you kick the door, then what I would like for you to do is to make a lift pull check for me.
What the hell?
Your boot slams onto the double doors. And you hear the rotten wood snap as the handle breaks off of the door on the inside. The chain, heavy, drops to the ground, and the sound of metal rings out throughout the cathedral of the church. Those chains have just struck old, dirty tile. Smeared there is a dark old stain of blood. The light of the stained glass windows is the only illumination within this place, and it casts colorful shadows across the church in front of you. You see broken old pews. However, Jesus Christ on the cross has been turned upside down.
All right.
All right, let's take her inside. The people on the horses, they can probably see us by now.
Yeah, let's get her in, and let me walk further in, just in case there's other company and they're waiting for us. I want to assess what might be in there.
Fine, I'll get Camilla.
And I'll call Marcus over so that he knows that we're going inside. And I'm going to step in.
Marcus looks to you. He has already started to form a watch towards the distance. Keeping his gun at the ready, he is covering both you and Faith as you carry Camilla into the church. You step in, Lampwick, first. How far into the church are you willing to go?
I'm going to take, going about. So, I'm going to go in about a foot or two, and Lampwick is looking for people or Romeros because that's his area of expertise. And I'm looking at Faith, making sure that she's okay with Camilla.
You do see people. The pews are full of them. However, none of them are moving. The bodies are heavily desiccated, very old corpses. Many of them have their heads lolled all the way back, leaning over the back of the wooden pews. Some of them are slumped forward on the pew in front of them. Lampwick, you notice many of them are holding firearms.
Interesting. Is there a smell other than probably, decomposition?
Very old decomposition.
Anything I notice, I'll point out to Faith. Let's get Camilla in and out of sight, but this is a very odd sight, and I want to take a closer look.
You bring Camilla in. Both of you walk her in. She's delirious still. Her wound has been as cared for as it can be in these circumstances. But the filth and the dirt of Sullivan Town still hangs upon both of you. You've cleaned her up as best you can, but there's only so much that rainwater and dirty towels will do. Marcus stands in the doorway and looks back at you. He scans the area, carefully keeping track of everything around. He catches your eye, Lampwick. Are we good here?
I don't know yet, but we might be better in here out of sight than in plain view of whatever that might be that's heading our way. I want to take a look at these bodies, make sure that they're not going to come back. And I want to take a look at the weapons that they have, see if there's any one or a couple maybe that might be useful.
There are various firearms here, mostly handguns. Some hunting rifles, shotguns, other things. There's perhaps 20 or 30 bodies here.
Wow.
They all have head wounds.
If I had more time, and I'll say this to the group, if I had more time, I'd say it would be a good idea to see what caused these head wounds, if it's self-inflicted or what, but Instead, I'm going to go and get something useful off of them. I'm going to see if I can find a pistol that works and has ammo.
How many survival points do you have left?
I have 210.
Would you like to spend 50 of those for a functional pistol?
I would.
So be it. You have a functional pistol with enough ammunition to last you for a while. It's a 9mm. Very simple, but a reliable weapon. The others are very old. Some of them do not seem as trustworthy. They're all covered in heavy dust. They've been here for a while, languishing in dried pools of blood. Some seem to be rusted. Marcus looks to you both and then announces, I'm going to get Betamax inside. Do you want anything out of that ATV before I come back? Because we're not going back out there.
I have all my gear on me. If there was anything, any rations or anything for Camilla, maybe, or
Yeah. The other AR-15 that you handed me, somebody handed me. I left in there. Should bring that in. I wasn't, and I look at my leg wound. I wasn't gonna carry all that stuff in here with me while helping get Camilla situated.
I kind of like lock eyes with Ludwig. I mean, anyone could have done that. And I continue.
I think it was Riggs. Riggs has had it out for me for a long time, and I knew that he was close. And if circumstances were different, I would have confronted him finally.
Wow.
But didn't seem to work out that way.
All right. Do a perimeter sweep here. Let's make sure that everything is what it seems to be. I wouldn't take anything for granted in this place.
So I want to make sure I know any other exits and entrances in this place, and any sign of anything fresh. Everything I've seen so far seems like it's very old. Even the blood is very old. So I want to look to see if there's anything fresh in terms of footprints or fresh blood or any disturbance.
All right. Well, if you're going to start searching the area, I'd like for you to make a search check.
All right.
All right, 1 degree of success. I'm going to spend 50 risk.
Oh.
You begin moving through the church, Lampwick,
Mm-hmm.
and you get closer to the altar. There's movement.
I stop and I lock eyes and I get the attention of anyone else that's here, and I signal to them to put their eyes forward as well.
Slowly, something raises up. A dark figure on the other side of the altar. The light of the stained glass window streaks washed out color across the form as it stands. Its jagged, broken figure straightens slowly. You see the pale, bald flesh of what was once a man, wearing the robes of a minister, draping around this figure. You see from those ragged ragged rose, the pale, vein-covered flesh of one of the infected. And it turns, but as it does, you hear another set of chains. This poor soul is tethered to the cross on the wall. It reaches at you.
At me?
Yes, Lampwick, it reaches at you. Its fingers stretch and it pulls, and you hear the creaking and the groaning of the cross as it sways and swivels as the chains pull this Romero back. It's unable to move any closer, but its dead eyes, empty, pale things with just the faintest small black specks in the center, lock upon you. And it reaches out to you.
Faith, keep an eye, if you can. You saw me earlier. Let me get closer. I just want to see what this... I just want to see if I can notice something about this. It's chained up, but if you can look out for Camilla, and if it looks like it's about to lunge at me in a way that isn't very friendly, then feel free to take him down.
Well, I mean, you could stab it yourself as another option. If
I
the
could.
louder we are, the people on the horses are going to come.
On that note, I'm actually going to look to see if I still have... I believe I still have a Citadel sword.
You do.
So I'm going to approach, but I'm going to go around, like, if Camila and Faith are, like, towards the right of the room, I'm going to swing left. If it's locking eyes on me and reaching towards me, I want to kind of guide it away from being able to focus on them.
All right. You move to the left. As you do, it follows. However, as Faith, you move Camila forward. Where do you take her?
I'm just going to take her to sort of like wherever the door is, that front part, the opposite corner. So I'm not going to move her into the church, just sort of against the wall facing where we entered. Into
the alcove, there are a number of large stone basins that are held here. They're completely empty, and there are large tables that have been knocked over. Bibles are spread out here, and Camilla slumps down against this table near the Bibles and sort of repositions herself so that she's secure and safe. She looks to you and, still delirious, calls out, "Puppy?"
No.
Oh.
But something better. A friend is here.
I need to rest.
Sure do. You look like shit. So just rest for the 1 or 2 minutes you might get right now, and we'll see if we can make that longer. You'll be fine.
Faith, when you stand back up, you see Marcus walking backwards back into the church. He's holding on to Betamax, who is heavily limping through the door, and you see blood sort of flowing off of his wound as he sort of like drops Betamax down.
Did you open up your wound again? I thought I just fixed that.
Yeah, fuck. I really screwed it up. Fuck.
Yeah.
This hurts.
There's some active bodies back there, so try to keep it down.
Oh, yeah, no, they're here.
Cool. Who's here?
That, I don't know, crazy lady on a horse. Marcus looks to you. I think they're with Lampwick.
Oh, great. That's great. Lampwick, when you're done poking that Romero, if you want to go say hey to your family, I think they've come to pick you up.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna. At this point, I think I've gotten hopefully close enough to get a better look at this chained up Romero, and I'm looking in his eyes. I want to see. I don't know. I just feel like I'm looking for something in them now that I wasn't looking for before, and I'm looking to see how long he's turned, if I can even tell. And if I can understand anything that comes out of his mouth.
Well, this Romero has been here for some time. I'd like for you to use a detect motives check for me, please.
Okay.
So that's 4, that turns into 4 degrees of success, is that correct?
It turns into 5 plus 3.
You're studying the face of this dead minister as the form reaches out towards you. Their skin is almost translucent, and as with many of the Romeros, decay eventually seems to slow or stop entirely. As long as they are active, their flesh, while it is rotten and decayed, does reach a certain point of putrescence where it stabilizes and becomes somewhat more translucent. The veins begin working around it. It's clear that this Romero hasn't eaten in a very, very long time, if ever. You're not certain how long this poor soul has been tethered here, but you can't help but believe that they may have been here since the fall.
Oh.
Welcome back to Hunter's Entertainment on Twitch.tv. My name is Noxweiler Burf, and tonight I am your game master through the dangerous world of Outbreak Undead. This is Rag and Bone. Welcome back. We have had a few technical difficulties, but we are with you now. Thank you for your patience. Also, thanks to your generosity, the players are currently able to utilize 3 temporary competency points that are in a communal pool. Any single player will be able to utilize those competency points should they choose to do so. You are aiding them through your generosity and your kindness. However, my risk continues to grow, so we'll see how this balances out as we progress. Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for staying with us. Lampwick and Faith, you are within the dark, large cathedral of a very old abandoned church. This place is heavily covered in dust and debris, and it looks as if it has seen many, many years of lack of use. And before you is a number of corpses that have been spread out into the pews themselves. There are some weapons that have been tossed here. This seems to be some sort of mass grave. They are not, from any of your investigations so far, Romeros. They're not the living dead. They seem to have been spared that fate. However, one of them is alive. On the far end of the altar, tethered to the enormous cross that is hanging on the wall behind or in front of the stained glass that is aged and worn and broken, is a Romero with slick skin, pulling itself closer and closer to Lampwick, hoping to grab onto him. However, this Romero has been chained to that cross. The door here had been sealed from the inside also by a chain. Camilla and Betamax, both wounded, are resting in a corner of the alcove. Faith, you are standing by the door as Marcus enters, gun in hand, keeping a sharp eye on something in the parking lot beyond, walking backwards into the space. The rain and the grain light pour in from the double doors that are open. And you hear Betamax very clearly announce, "Now, they're here." And Marcus follows. "I think they're with Lampwick."
With that, I stop. I take just one last look at the Romero that's chained up and take a breath, and I start to step away and head towards the front.
Lampwick, you got this?
I think so. Just lay low, and I'll see what they want from me.
Okay.
I'm gonna step out.
Marcus looks at you very closely. He grabs onto your arm before you step out there. Whatever it is they're here for, the answer is no.
Just let me do the talking. They're not a danger yet.
They tried to kill us. They left us in Sullivan Town to die, Lampwick. I don't know what you think these people are.
I don't know if I know what I think they are. I just know that they are a necessary evil, I suppose, that we need to deal with. And right now, I'm your closest connection to them that's going to keep them from treating you like you're their enemy. So, be right back.
He steps back and he looks to you, Faith. You were going to do it.
But I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't.
We all gotta change sometime. Might as well just decide when that's gonna be instead of letting the world tell you how to be instead.
Yeah. This place. Something bad happened here.
Oh yeah, this is real super messed up. I'm just I don't know, but isn't any weird in what just happened to us?
No, it's not.
I mean, this is like a 5, you know? A couple hours ago, that was like a 10 or an 11.
I don't know how to take this situation right now, but I'm glad you didn't do it. Not for Lampwick. For you.
Well, I hope I don't come to regret it. We'll see what happens with the weird cult people outside. And if they come in to eat us or not. I could have made a mistake. It's possible.
They're not going to eat anyone. They're not getting close to us. I'm giving Lampwick this chance, but If they come towards us, if they come towards her, if they come towards any of you, I'm going to start firing. Are you with
Sounds
me?
fair. Oh yeah, they've been weird since the minute I met them all. They're no friends of mine.
I don't like what they've done to Lampwick. And granted, I haven't seen that bastard in 20-odd years. But there's something happening here. And I'm going to get down to the bottom of it. And we're going to find out exactly what they mean to do.
I almost don't want to know. Yeah, honestly. I just wish they'd go away. But yeah, they come in here. I'll protect my friend.
The two of you stand in the doorway as the rain sort of blows in. Camilla and Betamax are off to one side. Betamax's wound isn't quite as bad as it looked. It was just a lot of blood, but it does look like, you know, in driving for as long as he did, he's popped quite a few of those stitches that you put into him. And you cleaned up the wound over the course of some time, but it's going to need new attention here fairly soon. Lampwick, you're stepping out, and as soon as you walk into the rain, you take 2 steps down the broken concrete stairwell. The landing brings you down into the shattered concrete and the overgrown lot beyond, and you see a figure in the rain, hooded with a black poncho, sitting on a horse. The horse is wrapped in black rags, tightly, like the horse that was pulling the carriage. The figure stands there before dismounting the horse. The horse doesn't move. It's not breathing normally. It stands perfectly still, silently, as the figure dismounts and begins walking towards you. You can make a spot listen check if you like.
I would like. I'm observing this figure. And hopefully I can gather something.
1 degree of success is enough. This person is strong, well-muscled, but somewhat lithe, lean. Underneath the hood, you see the outline of their lower jaw, and you recognize it as Sister Deidre.
I take a step forward, but not, there's nothing confrontational in my demeanor. Sister.
She raises her head towards you, and you see her keen, intelligent eyes. Dark, but glimmering beneath this hood. Brother Lampwick.
Yes. Am I needed?
Where is Achira?
When the Citadel attacked, I lost her. But I trust that she will find me.
That is unfortunate. We were hoping that you would be able to bring her to us.
I will. And if it's delayed, then I will make up for that lost time. My methods sometimes are not a straight line. It's a windy road, but it yields a better outcome.
So be it. Who was with you?
Some allies that I've acquired. Some that I've been traveling with Achira. A few individuals that are very important to her. I think that they are useful and necessary for what I have ahead of me.
You were easy to follow. Her vehicle. It leaves very distinctive tracks.
That is a problem. Do you suggest a solution to that?
I do.
I look at the horse. Is that a part of the solution?
We will provide you with transportation.
For all of us.
We know that others escaped with you.
They did.
Who was with you?
I have people with me that are allied with the Enders and were once allied with the Citadel. And I think having at least a rickety bridge with both of those organizations is important right now. Trust is the way that we get what we need. And I see them as my flock, and I'm trying to lead them towards the light. Not all of them can be saved, but some of them I believe can.
Brother Lampwick, how can you lead when you have not yet proven yourself able to follow?
Perhaps I misused the words. I know what I have seen, and I trust what I have felt. And the truth doesn't need leaders and followers. It just is what it is. My ability to lead and my ability to follow are all a work in progress, but it doesn't mean that I can't help someone who's less along the path take a few steps.
Brother Lampwick, Hodge and Hayworth place great faith in you. I do not.
I thank you for that. Because that will challenge me to be better than I am.
Aren't you going to invite me in?
Of course, I wasn't sure you were interested in company, but there is a sight to see in there. And I would love to know what your eyes interpret.
She begins walking forward.
I walk right next to her.
The two of you walk side by side, these black draped wraiths, as you enter in soaking wet. Marcus does not stop glaring. Faith, what is your reaction? The woman that is standing next to Lampwick is probably around 6 feet tall, well built, strong, still wearing the black robes, removes the hood, has a fully shaved head, and this dark dark skin that glistens in the light from outside under the rainwater. Her eyes are bright and very intelligent, keen, almost like a wild animal. She is assessing everything around you, and you believe this woman is assessing everything as she enters into the space, judging all of you, weighing and measuring everything that she sets her eyes upon. There is a determination to her walk, but also a certain peace. She moves carefully, almost as if she's floating. What do you do, Faith?
I sort of stand my ground, sort of in front of where Camilla and Betamax are. Lampwick, you gonna introduce us to your
Of course, pardon me, my manners. Sister Deidre, these are my traveling companions. And I gestured to each of the group and give them an opportunity to introduce themselves if they take it.
Yeah, so what do you want here? You come to take Lampwick back, or what's your deal, sister?
I am Sister Deidre of the Hand of Malachi. I am a follower and faithful. I walk the righteous path. I am here because I am meant to be here. Can you say the same?
Well, I can certainly see something about thinking I was walking a righteous path. So I actually have nothing to say to that. Just, we're just taking a rest here, and I guess if Lampwick wants you here, you can rest too, but, we'll do no harm if you do no harm.
We're all friends here.
Well, I would say that given the circumstances and the assurances that you've given Lampwick, I think we can all relax just a little. But I will say, I am no friend of anyone that would drop the dead on us from the sky, or hope that we are carried away in a tide of the dead. That
What are you talking about now? This is news to me. This person dropped a bunch of dead into that last town we were in?
Well, the dead weren't there when we were there. It was a surprise to us. It was certainly a surprise to me. Sister Deidre, I don't believe that anybody here was responsible for that. I think they were caught in the crossfire of something that somebody else had a hand in.
we brought the dead upon Sullivan Town, yes. That was our hand. The Citadel has burnt this land, spread their sin. Those that had suffered under the boot of your people. They begged us. They pleaded. They wanted some path for forgiveness, and we provided it. We gave them hope. We gave them salvation.
I saw that, Sister Deidre. I saw how grateful they were for what you provided. And I saw the fear in their eyes because of what the Citadel had put them through. But these here, and I gesture to Faith, and if Camilla is nearby, They're not responsible for what just happened in Sullivan. I know who is. I've met the man who pulls the strings for the Citadel. And he is the antithesis of everything I understand us to be. There's no light in him. There's no desire for the light. There's only chaos and destruction and selfishness. And if anything, everyone he comes into contact with is a victim of his wrath.
Wrath and pride.
Yes.
Citadel is built upon many sins. She takes a few steps towards you, Faith. She doesn't seem to have a weapon anywhere near her. She just steps closer to you. Do you allow her to do so?
I don't move.
She raises your chin up so that you're looking into her eyes. And she doesn't blink. Are you lost, my child?
No, pretty sure. I put myself right where I am right now.
And where will you go?
I guess we haven't really made a plan. Wherever we can help, my friend. For now.
And you no longer serve the Citadel.
No. I do not serve anyone.
So be it. She looks for a moment at Marcus and then doesn't say anything because Marcus's face is as hard as stone. And you see he's clenching the back of his jaw, Lampwick, and you know that he's holding back every urge he has to put a bullet into this woman.
Mm-hmm. I note that. I do give him a look and then return my gaze back to Deidre.
She stops, reaches into her robes, and pulls out a small leather-wrapped bundle. She hands it to you, Faith.
What the hell is this?
Mercy. For your friends.
Medicine is the word you're looking for, I hope. I open the bag.
There are a number of glass bottles that are filled with homemade antibiotics and painkillers. They look familiar. You think you've seen these particular types of pills before.
Well, thank you. Guess you're not so bad after all.
She turns and starts walking down the aisle deeper into the church as the sound of the Romero that is chained onto the altar has drawn her attention. Lampwick, do you follow?
I do.
Faith, what do you do?
I assume Lampwick's got this whole weird situation in hand, so I'm gonna go back to Betamax and Camilla and do medicine checks on them.
All right, go ahead and make me 2 rolls, and we'll come back to you. Meanwhile, Rowan. You're still within the barracks that you had been brought to. The room is musty and cold, and the scratchy wool blanket that you were underneath isn't doing much to keep the chill out. It's gotten significantly colder in the past few days, and while there are some small ways that the Citadel manages to keep itself heated throughout the winter, none of them have been brought into bear quite yet. And given the situation that you've just found yourself in, you're not surprised. Riggs is standing by the window. We brought Achira back in.
Yeah, that's a way to help things.
Yeah, well, she wasn't going to be left to be dead out there in the middle of nowhere. All of her companions had pretty much bailed on her.
Shit.
She was alone. We found her unconscious in one of the buildings in Sullivan Town. And to be honest, I was of a mind to leave her there to rot, but I thought, what the fuck? Why not extend the olive branch and see what the fuck shakes loose? I'm probably going to regret it.
She causes a little bit of a headache every time she's around for you. I've noticed that. That little vein above your eye is bulging again. Also, I know this blanket is wool, but did they make it out of steel wool? Because that's what it feels like.
Well, in your little tirade through the Citadel, Rowan, we seem to be short quite a lot. 3 of the safe houses within the walls are gone. Half of the infrastructure for the tunnels has been exposed and set on fire. We have a lot to answer for. People are questioning a lot. You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, my biggest concern is not finding a body of whatever the hell that thing was. At least if we'd have come out with that, people might question less. But at this point, I'm not sure what to do because that thing was almost impossible to kill.
Well, it didn't leave much. You took an entire chunk out of the grounds out there. Concrete, all of the vehicles gone. Most of our biodiesel reserves are now absolutely out. All out of commission. So we're in a real tight spot here, Rowan. We're hanging in the fucking wind. And I've tried my best to keep order around here, and I honestly thought that you and I were on the same wavelength when it came to running things around here. But now, no matter what, I'm going to have this question in the back of my head every time you and I split ways. That's going to take time.
Yeah, that checks out.
Do you even fucking believe in this place anymore?
Yeah, to the best of my ability. Again, not so sure about the unkillable talking Romeros, though. It's hard to really have faith in any community past those points, but if I believe in anyone, I believe in us.
If it wasn't for those things, those fucking abominations, the way that the herds and the swarms have been acting, those religious freaks, you and I would have had a very, very different encounter today. But I'm going to chalk a lot of this up to you and I being in uncharted territory.
It's fair.
I want this to work, and I sure as fuck can't do it on my own. Faith is gone. There goes the bright future. So we got to start planning. We got to lock down. I think any plans for expansion are off the table. We have to get our house back in order.
I agree with that.
I got that Kusanagi worm, too. I've got him.
Yeah? What did you...
Well, that piece of shit is cooling off right now. I've got him hanging by his ankles in one of the sub-chambers right now.
Oh, good, he's back.
Yeah, it's fucking me. We've been questioning, but he's not been really quick to answer too much. He's been pinning a lot of it on Lampwick. I don't buy it.
I'd buy some of it. Lampwick is pretty guilty of most of the things he's accused of, but also an easy cop-out for anyone who's trying to get away with shit. So, valid.
He claims he's willing to take us to that safe house. We're gonna need those resources. More now than ever.
All right. Want a little field trip with a few of the groups here and see what we can find. A little scavenge mission to try and pick.
I'm willing to allow things to sit at that for now. This conversation is far from over. You should rest up. Lampwick and Faith.
I'll believe that.
The Romero reaches with cold, dead, empty, grasping hands towards you, Lampwick. Snatching, moaning, pulling itself futilely against the chains that are holding it back. It turns, it also sees Sister Deidre, and it reaches towards her with the same fervor. You're not certain that this is aggressive. It almost seems pitiful, pleading, desperate. A shadow of pain and recognition across the face of the tight, gaunt skin that's pulled across the skull. The lips almost entirely gone, nothing but rotten teeth. And those pale, empty eyes with the tiny flecks of black in the center, the veins working their way out. What do you see?
I see a child that's lost. I see pain. How do we help? I want to help.
Deidre's hand reaches forward towards this pitiful Romero. It's horribly emaciated. It looks as if every move it makes, its body is fighting against it, as if its joints no longer work. And it isn't quick, but very slow. The soul has not eaten. It hungers. Always, the hunger fills it, consumes it. The weight of its sins the life that it led, I can think of nothing more fitting than to be shackled by the chains of your false faith. She reaches to the robes, and the creature, it doesn't snap, but is slowly sort of mouthing kind of closer to her hand as she reaches forward, but is far too slow to be able to bite or catch her. But she reaches her hand into the robes, and you see a glint of metal that you've noticed before but hadn't quite made anything out of, and she pulls it forward, expecting to see a cross or some sort of religious sigil. You instead see a key. She breaks the key and the necklace from his neck, and it nearly throws the Romero to the ground, but it rights itself and then looks back to you. And she puts the key in your hand, Lampwick.
I take it.
His faith is yours to decide. Meanwhile, Faith, you have gotten 5 degrees of success on your first aid check, which is for Camilla. And you have 3 degrees of success on your second first aid check, which is for Betamax. Both of them are in the best possible hands given the situation that they possibly could be in. Camilla is very comfortable. You have managed to look at the pills that were given to you and portion them out in a way that will serve each of them best, so that you're not using too much or too little. But you know that you cannot give Camilla any of the painkillers, that she will have to suffer through the pain, given her extended and current state of pregnancy. However, Betamax now is very comfortable, and his wound is completely sealed and bandaged. Camilla's wound is cleaned, and you were able to remove a little more skin that was starting to look like it was going putrid. And in doing so, you have saved her from an additional infection. So you've done quite a bit of work in this short period of time. Marcus is helping you out, but he never takes his eyes off of Deidre. He's watching you the entire time, and his gun is almost always in his hand. What do you want to do?
I look over to Marcus, see that he's watching Lampwick and Deidre. So you gonna do anything about that?
You know, if Lampwick says that he has control of the situation, I'm willing to trust him for now. But I don't believe for a moment that anyone that wears those black robes has anything good planned for any of us.
Yeah, they both were saying some crazy shit I did not understand. It did not sound very good. I'm grateful for the medicine that woman gave us, but I'm starting to wonder what the price is, because she's clearly trying to get me to join their cult, and I'm not about to jump into one more that I just got out of one, basically. But Lampwick, I don't know, he's also free to do what he wants to do as well, so I don't think he...
a long time ago that you cannot control Lampwick. You can't make him do anything. He's working an angle. He's doing it right now.
Well, you seem to know him pretty well. And I've decided to just trust him too, so we'll see. But we can both watch over him a little bit, if he lets us.
Yeah, maybe. So they never taught you any religion in that citadel?
Just the religion of the Citadel. Apparently my name has some sort of religious connotation. I'm told.
It does. Yes. Service isn't a bad thing. Blind service. It's a deadly thing.
Yes. Yes, I'm learning that. But at least I can't say that it was all a waste. I mean, I grew up there. I don't know anything else. I still don't really know anything else. But if I didn't grow up there, I'd be dead somewhere else. I couldn't have helped Camilla and this guy Betamax, who I just met you, basically. I mean, it's hard for me to say that I regret everything, but it's harder to say that I wish I wasn't so blind for so long.
Look. You can't hide from who you used to be. You can't run from that. But that doesn't mean that it's going to define who you're going to be. You get to make that choice. And I'm here right now because we haven't had much of a choice. When you're surviving, you're moving. And if you stop moving, you die. We have to use every advantage we can find out here. You don't have those walls any longer to protect you. You don't have your tanks and your ammunition. You've only got yourself, your intelligence. And I can see you're smart. I'm not saying that I don't hope that Lampwick is okay. That's not why I'm here. I'm here in case he isn't all right. And I know you were going to end him, but I couldn't allow that to happen. Not until I'm sure. Do you know what I'm saying to you?
I think so. We'll see how long we can hold our values in high esteem or out here trying not to get eaten.
I've been out here since the beginning. I've never had what you had. I don't blame you for that. We all walk different paths. But there's a place out here. You don't have to follow their orders. You can command yourself. Be in charge of your destiny. You can do all of that. But you can't do it alone. Say what you will, but the Ender's Line and the other Rag and Bone that are out here, they have a network. I can put you in touch with some people. They can start to give you some purpose and some structure and some support. And then you can decide what you want to take and what you want to leave behind.
Well, just say I've got a little fear of commitment right now, but let's just see where the day takes us first. But I appreciate you offering.
It's all fine. Look, like I said, there is no commitment. It's whatever you want to put in when you put it in. If you want to disappear, you disappear. Plenty do. Anyway, like I said, I'm keeping an eye on this, and you can see that he's a little more agitated, not by you, but by what's happening on the other side, as both Lampwick and Deidre exchange something between their hands. Lampwick, you have the key.
I'm looking at it. Is it a large key?
It's a padlock key.
Huh. What might this be for?
Deidre looks at the chains and then all the way back to the crucifix, the cross that's hanging upside down. The chains are wrapped around it, tethered to the wall, and there you see a padlock.
I see. Huh. He's had his way out on him this whole time. But of course, unable to recognize it for what it was. I take the key and I approach the padlock. And while I'm watching the Romero, and if he tries to come near me, then I'll just put my hand up and just kind of keep him away.
He stumbles towards you, but almost as light as paper, you push the Romero away. It's clear that this poor soul is deeply starved. This Romero has wasted away here and is still active all this time later.
I'm going to keep him at bay, and I'm going to... Lamprick is going to reach out, and although I am keeping him at bay because I know what he is, I reach out and I touch his arm very gently as I look him in whatever eyes he has left. And I just say to him, "Mercy. Mercy." And I step back and I grab the chains and I start to wrap them around one hand as I unlock the padlock. And I turn to Deidre and I say, "None of us deserve to suffer. None of us." And I'm going to grab the chains and I'm going to start to lead him outside.
Start walking this Romero straight down the aisle of this church. Marcus has his gun in his hand, and again, you see that he's fighting every urge that he has to not put a bullet through that Romero. But he holds himself back and steps back in front between you and Faith and the others. He's creating a barricade between himself and them. Behind you, you hear Deidre walking softly, carefully, and quietly.
I hum gently to this wasted away Romero, as if I'm humming a lullaby. And it's the shepherd song, very softly, almost to myself, as I continue to kind of tug him away from my companions and out towards the door and outside.
You step into the rain. Romero looks around as the rain falls, washing across his filthy skin. Some of it falls off of his body into the ground and exposes muscle and sinew, just as desiccated as the rest of him. Still stumbling forward. This poor, ragged thing slowly reaches his hand outward as if to touch the rain as it falls onto him.
I'm gonna take my Citadel sword out, and I'm gonna tug him down firmly to get him down on his knees.
Easily, he crumples down to his knees. The minister's robes are now pooled in the muddy water of the ground around him, and filth washes off of him as he bows before you. That stray hand still, perhaps it's just a reflex, but it seems, to you at least, that it's reaching towards this sensation of cold, wet rain falling from the skies.
I get a little bit closer to his face, not too close. And I'm gonna whisper to him. I see you. And I'm gonna take the sword. And I'm gonna cut open my hand. And I'm gonna let the blood drip into his mouth.
This weak, pitiful thing doesn't seem to realize what is happening at first, because the rainwater immediately makes this cut, Lampwick, feel and look like a torrent, like a river of watery blood that is pouring forth from your hand, though you've cut it well enough that it is bleeding, but not anything that would be critical to you. Still, with the rainwater mixing, it's like a river. And it pours across the face of the dead minister as the water pours into the mouth, and then realization lights in the eyes as you watch the paleness start to bleed outward and grow darker within those eyes as this thing begins to drink and reaches towards your hand.
I pull it back.
It's moving more quickly now, though still weak. There's something sharper, more crisp, brought into focus about this Romero. It looks to you, Lampwick, and just seems to be staring. Blood coated down its front.
Staring at me. I'm going to step back and give him a little more slack with the chains.
As you step away, he rises and takes just one step towards you.
I'm putting my hand up.
Swaying there in the rain, the Romero stands.
I'm going to take another step back and give him a little more slack. And I'm going to tell him to come.
Make a command roll for me. 5 degrees of success without any of your additional abilities. In the rain of the parking lot of this abandoned church, this corpse, this Romero that you have brought out here, most likely having been secluded and locked away since the very beginning of the fall, now baptized by the rain in your blood, clearly follows your command, stepping forward, intently watching you. We'll come back to you, Outbreak. Rowan. You're alone. The room is quiet. One of the guards has brought you food, left the tray of it there. Nothing special. A lot of jerky and old stale bread. Clearly things are on tighter rations right now. The tier that you're at, you usually get fresh meat. That's how it works in the Citadel. Rank is everything. The more you serve, the higher your rank. The higher your rank, the better you eat. It's the way of things. And no one takes it for granted. What do? You're sore, you're battered, but you're alive.
I eat half of my food, and the bits of it, like the jerky and stuff that'll keep, I store and stash away in either under the bed or in like a little pouch that I can like keep in my pocket for if I need it.
Okay. You stash some of this food away. You eat what you need to. You don't know if you're being held captive here or not. You've not tried the door. The guards haven't really said much of anything. They've been very polite but quick about their work.
She's gonna try and walk out and see what happens.
You step through the door and the 2 guards stand at attention. Stand up.
Gentlemen, either one of you got an extra smoke on me?
Yes, ma'am. One of them pulls into their front pocket and hands you a small leather pouch that has tobacco in it and some scraps of what look like rolling paper.
She's gonna start rolling her own cigarette and just kind of look at them and go, either one of you boys, John, where were you up?
Rowan, I need you to repeat what you said last, please.
Sorry. Were either one of you here when that abomination attacked, or were you both out rigs?
We were serving with Lieutenant Riggs, ma'am.
You might want to ask your friends what they saw. Try and stay in the know, because I don't think Riggs understands how big of a problem these things are.
Ma'am, with all due respect, it seems like Lieutenant Riggs has been paying pretty close attention to the situation. We've been scouring. There are currently squads that are out searching the nearby woods, looking for anything that doesn't seem to fit. They're trying to bring something else in alive. Riggs wants to know what exactly they are, and if we can keep one.
Yeah. Well, I can smell you. I figured that out. I told Riggs, kind of rolled his eyes a little bit, but just watch out.
Will do, ma'am. Thank you for the intel.
Yeah. I'm gonna go make some rounds, if that's all right. Pardon me.
We'll be here, ma'am. You
Good.
step down the hallway. It's a dark corridor. It doesn't seem like the generators are working in this wing. There are lanterns hanging from hooks. You hear screaming down one of the corridors. It seems to be coming from below the basement.
I'll start making my way down that way.
As you do, there's a guard standing by one of the stairwells that leads down. At one point, there was a working elevator that doesn't function any longer. The elevator itself has been scrapped, but the elevator shaft is sometimes used to quick rappel down into the lower levels. Most of the time, people, however, use the stairwell, the fire exit, to work their way down into some of the sub-layers beneath this complex. The screaming is very clear. You've heard all of it before. Someone is undergoing some very serious torture, most likely under Riggs' command, if not direct supervision. You have little doubt who that voice is. You're certain it's Kusanagi. Do you wish to proceed all the way down?
Would Kusanagi be able to see me if I did that, or no?
If you went all the way down, you would have to walk through other corridors, and you would probably eventually come to some sort of holding cell. He might be able to see you.
I will move close enough that I can hear what's going on, but I will try my hardest to stay out of view so that Kusanagi doesn't see me if I can.
You can't hear much of anything. It's all screaming. I don't know. I can't tell you. I already told you everything I know. But what really catches your attention here, Rowan, is the smell of burnt hair and flesh. It's wafting up from where you're currently standing. None of the guards or soldiers that are passing through seem to pay much attention. Is there anything else that you'd like to do?
I'll move close.
You move further down. You get to the doorway that leads into the corridor where the holding cells are. You know this area well. The brig is where you keep most of your prisoners on a long-term basis. This complex, this isn't for holding people. Riggs and some of the other lieutenants have used this to question those that would hold information from them. They call it the library. There are no books inside. There is electricity, however, and it's fluttering as you watch the few emergency lamps flicker on and off as if something is drawing large amounts of power from it. Now see, I thought we had a real nice rapport going. You and I, Kusanagi, we had a conversation going. You were telling me things that I actually fucking believed. And I was telling you, you know what? I guess I don't have to electrify your nuts again. You've got I'd say maybe 3 to 4 minutes to sort your head out. I'm stepping away. I need a break from this shit. You're back and forth, will they, won't they, Jack and Diane, lion ass, is telling me everything but what I know already. You sabotage those fucking radios. You put my people in danger, and the reason that this installation is under attack is because you lied to our face and took our goodwill and threw it right back in our faces. So fuck you very much. 3 minutes. Jester, start the clock. You smell a cigar, and there's a spark of a match somewhere down the hallway.
I'll walk down that way, and I listen to see if Kusanagi says anything in return.
You just hear crying. Blubbering.
I get closer, right up to the door so that it can see me.
He's pretty badly beaten.
If possible.
His eyes are all swollen. Bruises across his face. He's hanging upside down. He's been stripped naked. And there are clamps attached to his body in various places. Wires that go across the batteries. There's water on the floor. Some of it certainly is his own urine. I'm gonna leave you there for now. Faith. Everyone that you have patched up is doing quite well. Marcus is standing at the door. Something's happening outside. What do you do?
I sort of smooth down Camilla's hair. All right, I'm gonna be right back. Gonna be okay in here? All you need to do is rest.
She murmurs but doesn't respond directly as she seems to be peacefully sleeping. You see what was described earlier. You see Lampwick motioning this Romero forward, and for all that you're seeing, you can't help but believe that he's actually in some way communicating with this dead thing. It seems to be obeying Lampwick. Deidre is standing off in the rain and turns and looks at you. And there's this serene emptiness to her face as she turns and stares at you.
Do you have a lot of these? I start to walk over to her. Is this something you people do? You have Romeros as pets?
Child, they are not pets. We are gathering these lost souls and guiding them into eternity.
They're already dead.
We're all already dead. And that is where we're going to end our session tonight.